to be a newspaper reviewer is right here with us in the studios. Baya, good morning and welcome.
Thank you, Presley. Good morning.
Thank you, Baya, for joining us.
You had a pleasant weekend.
Nigeria.
Right, let's begin with the New Telegraph newspaper. Above the name flag of the New Telegraph newspaper, federal government's personnel pensions go up 2.43 trillion naira in 8 months. With a rider, workforce expenses account for 66% of recurrent expenditure. The story is on page 8. Sanwo-Olu, Mefele pleased with National Theatre job. Results on page 25. I below the nameplate, Sultan, why Nigeria is in trouble. Calls for special prayers against killings. Again, gunmen abduct Imo monarch. That's on page 25. 19.3 billion naira bailout. Kogi drags EFCC to court. Demands 35 billion naira damages. NFF sacks Gannett Raw, appoints Iguavo interim Eagles coach. Okocha Kanu Lawal to provide support. That's on page 31. At 95, son of Obomosho joins his ancestors. Buhari, Obasanjo, Alafin, Kalu, governors, others pay tribute. The lead story on the New Telegraph is UK may rescind travel ban on Nigeria, may revert to quarantine. Suspension of Nigeria-bound flights places airlines in a fix as low load amounts to economic waste. That's on page 3. There will be no APC by March, April next year, according to Ayu. Ayu is, of course, the newly elected PDP chairman. Says party contraption to capture power. APC is on vacation, says PDP. I will shout if you don't do well, Wike tells party national chairman. That's on page 3. COVID-19, how Omicron variant got its name, as according to virologists. Why viruses are no longer named after country of origin. That's on page 8. Study, that's at the bottom of the Daily Telegraph. Anger, emotional upset could trigger stroke. That's on page 26. All right,
You don't carry on. Yeah, let's take a look at this Nigeria. This Nigeria is the title that we also have this morning along with 2 others. Now, there's an earpiece there beside the name flag. It says, Rescue Nigeria, Rebuild PDP, Wike tasks Ayu, and vows to mobilize governance for success. Serap urges National Assembly leadership to probe 2019 missing 10 billion naira. And the lead story comes with a kicker, COVID-19 Omicron ban. Federal government fights back. Set to suspend flights from the UK, Canada, Saudi Arabia, and Argentina. Decision is for Nigeria's interest. That's according to Sirika, the aviation minister. Buhari to ECOWAS leaders, we must forge stronger solidarity to tackle new challenges. 20 bandits and 7 villagers killed as military engaged insurgents in Zamfara village. And how federal government blew over $10 billion on 49-year-old Mambila hydropower projects. Bye.
Thank you, Kingsley. President Muhammadu Buhari has called on ECOWAS leaders at the 60th anniversary summit for solidarity among ECOWAS leaders to address challenges including COVID-19 and Omicron. He expressed appreciation that health organizations within the various countries are mitigating the pandemic through their various disease control entities. He says the community is adopted Vision 2050 to achieve an integrated community, to create a borderless, peaceful, purposeful community where citizens can harness resources for opportunities for sustainable development, job creation, and environmental preservation. On the issue of COVID-19, COVID-19 cases appears to be on the rise in Nigeria, and there is heightened concerns that the preventive measures are suffering careless abandonment. Data from the Nigeria Center for Disease Control showed that between November 28th and December 4th, there were 585 cases reported. The following week, that is December 5th to December 11th, 2,496 cases were reported. This is an increase of about 1,011, which is 300 and 26.7%. Punch reports that Nigerians have abandoned observing safety protocols, especially that of using face masks and hand washing across the nation. A reporter observed that in Lagos, churches, mosques, and other public places are not enforcing the use of face masks and hand washing. At Jos, this reporter says that residents claim that there's no need for the protocols as the virus has gone. In Zamfara, the paper also observed that even Zamfara state government officials no longer wear face masks or at offices or official functions. And also, it observed that at markets, churches, and mosques, face masks and protocols are not observed. Data for the Nigeria Center for Disease Control show that 22,863 COVID tests were conducted between 29th of November and December 11th. This is low compared to 103,358 that was conducted between November 22nd and November 28th. The irony is that while there is alarm that Omicron is here and cases are increasing, instead of increase in tests, we are suffering a decrease in tests. And it has NCDC observed that 13 states, including Kogi, have stopped completely COVID-19 tests. Only 26 states are now sending reports to the Center for Disease Control. A virologist from the University of Maiduguri, Professor Marceline Baba, says that slacking by states in community testing and recent surge could lead to a full outbreak. He charged that the cold weather now has a tendency to increase the cases. The chairman, Presidential Steering Committee, Boss Mustafa, has called on Nigerians not to lower their guard. And the Minister for Aviation, Hadi Sirika, says United Kingdom and others lack the moral right to embark on Nigeria's airline to come to their country. Accordingly, the minister says that we have recommended travel ban for Canada, United Kingdom, Saudi Arabia, and others for their restriction on Nigerians. He says if they do not allow our citizens into their country, who are their airlines coming to pick up from Nigeria? They are also placed on Nigeria's red list. The British High Commission in Nigeria says that United Kingdom will not reverse its travel ban on Nigeria because of retaliatory ban. The spokesman, Dean Horlock, says that United Kingdom was sticking to its standard background lines. He says that the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office's travel advice is under constant review, and he advised that travelers should constantly check on it for their requirement. Meanwhile, in the United Kingdom, where hospitalization of Omicron cases began on Saturday, 1,898 cases of Omicron were recorded over the weekend. Booster vaccination is being recommended to those who have had the two vaccinations over a period of 6 months. Why? They say that there are indications that those two vaccinations after 6 months will have been depleted almost to zero. So a booster vaccination is expected to increase the antibodies in the body to about 70% and therefore give considerable protection for sins. Nigeria senior citizens, the Nigeria Union of Pensioners, have called on sanctions on state governors who fail to pay pension and gratuities to retirees. The national president of Nigeria Union of Pensioners, Godwin Abumusi, asked President Muhammadu Buhari not to relent in making gratuity and other entitlements a priority of government. By the way, the president is also a pensioner, but is on sabbatical in providing service, having been elected as president. He enjoyed the National Assembly to pass a law that will compel governors to pay pension as at when due. The senior citizens held their 2021 Pensioners' Day celebration at Labour House. In Ado-Ekiti, the chairman of the Ekiti State branch, Joel Akinola, called for the creation of a special ministry at the state and the federal level to give personal attention to pensioners. In fact, sometimes the challenges that PTAD is facing has become overwhelming. I personally had to help a pensioner follow up his pension. His pension has been stopped since 2020. He has gone for verification. They say they are doing it in batches. So between 2020 and now, he has not received a dime. And they say they are doing their verification in batches. And the poor man is there at home. He can't get his due.
I don't think, in fact, with all the pension reforms we have had in this country, yet we have been unable to have a very reliable pension management. When even you deal with that at the federal government level, go to states. Many states don't even pay anything to pensioners. Many states don't pay.
And it has to be emphasized, this is under the old pension scheme.
Whether the new pension scheme or old pension scheme.
With the new pension scheme, it's a contributory pension. So if you have followed through the process and there are no obstacles, whoever is handling your PFE is supposed to remit your pension to you monthly. So there ought not to be a problem about that. Those who went under annuity will have their pension remitted to them monthly. It is under the old pension scheme that these challenges have become gargantuan. And Peter was specifically established to manage and handle that. But apparently, it seems that there are several pensioners are suffering and not getting their pension.
All right. Well, I want to move back to the issue of Omicron variant of coronavirus and the various measures that countries are taking around the world, and Nigeria's indication to take retaliatory steps against the UK, Canada, and I think Argentina.
And Saudi Arabia.
It's the way to go. Reciprocity is often a rule in international relations. We have seen what has happened between Nigeria and the UAE over Emirates. That's on a different level. So if it is tit for tat, and the Ministry of Aviation makes that recommendation to the Presidential Committee on coronavirus, why not? That's the way to go. So once the dust settles, or if the dust begins to settle, then we will reopen the transaction. Let's not forget one of the things that happened in this country during the regime of General Sani Abacha. British Airways flights were barred from coming to Nigeria, and they were flying to Accra.
In fact,
and the heavens did not fall.
Yes, the Minister of Aviation asked a pertinent question. He said, if you have banned Nigerians from entering your country, your airlines that are coming into the country, who are they coming to convey?
Precisely. It's simple, straightforward question. There are also no...
Except they are coming for their citizens.
I think British government took a very hasty decision with respect to this.
They can take alternative airlines. But I don't know whether there are direct flights between Canada and Nigeria. Air Canada doesn't fly into Nigeria, but we'll see how they're able to implement that. And by the way, the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa is down with coronavirus. He tested positive and is isolating in Cape Town.
And he just left Nigeria the other day.
No, well,
he left Nigeria over a week ago.
That's over 2 weeks ago.
Exactly, but
that's about 2 weeks ago. And the rate of Omicron variant is far higher in South Africa than those that have been identified in Nigeria.
The idea that he left Nigeria a week ago does not mean he didn't have it before he came to Nigeria, because he didn't go through any tests while in Nigeria in the first place, right? So he got back.
You will have no indication whether or not. I mean, let's face it, these are sovereign transactions.
I agree with you, you know, but for him to have returned and after a week he has COVID, there's every possibility, you know, of coming into Nigeria with it as well. I mean,
he left Nigeria more than a week ago. He visited
Nigeria
more than a week ago.
You know, the virus does not show. It gives you almost 10 days or more before it can manifest. So never can tell when he contracted it.
So if to go by that your logic, it means that the previous 10 days before he was here, he was what was that word?
Asymptomatic, exactly.
Well, whatever it is, I mean, he's not down and out. We wish him speedy recovery. There are no reported fatalities yet from Omicron. From Omicron variant.
Yes, in fact, scientists in South Africa say that so far, from all their observations, there have not been critical cases coming from the Omicron, in spite of the fact that they've observed that the Omicron virus has 32 spikes, which differentiates it from even the earlier ones.
One could even question, this idea of mutation and the names given to these mutations. Because it's scary when they say when Delta came, they said Delta was so devastating, and Delta has come. Now we talk about Omicron, and this Omicron is not even as dangerous as Delta. So scientists, I think we should just have a way of dealing with this without creating panic, because when they say a variant is out, it's like this usual panic everywhere. That has even led to what the UK, Canada, and other countries have done. Because Omicron is not as dangerous as Delta. So why didn't they do it when Delta came on board? Now Omicron, they are now saying, banning Nigeria and other countries from coming to the country because of Omicron, which is even less dangerous than Delta.
Kirian, nations are acting on the side of caution. They don't want to take chance. When there's a new variant, the expectation is that the protein nature of the virus has changed. And to be very careful until it is fully understood, you have to take measures. And that's why everybody is taking measures.
Just like what the minister...
And about the naming, they are just naming them after Greek letters. Alpha, Beta, and so
just
on.
Like what
and the latest is Omicron.
The Minister of Aviation said, Srika, what is the scientific proof before you can take a decision of banning a country from coming into your country? That we have to follow science, because if Omicron emerged, there has to be scientific research on Omicron to determine how dangerous that is before you can now say you are banning a country from coming into your country. This is a country you've been friendly with for over the years. All of a sudden, you say there's a variant, and then
it has nothing to do with being friendly or being hostile.
it's
cross-border. But gentlemen, I'm sorry, because we had two issues. There's a editorial for us to take. And there is also the sacking of the Super Eagles coach. Some would say, and including myself, would say that was a belated decision. There was a report in our news bulletin a while ago that he was around for some 64 months, or how long he was around. How many trophies did he win during that period? Now he's been fired, happily so, again, as some persons would say, and he's been replaced by Austin Eguavoen. Austin Eguavoen had previously coached the Super Eagles. His nickname while he was playing for the Super Eagles, a utility defender that he was, his nickname was Cerezo. But I do hope that even as an interim manager, that you would treat him with the same decency and respect to the terms of the contract as you would a foreigner who is hired to handle the Super Eagles. He is not the first Nigerian indigenous coach. We had Stephen Keshi. He had the rows with the NFF or whatever name. You had Shuaibu Amodu, rows. You had Samson Siasia, rows. You will not pay them. Christian Chuku, you will not pay them on time. You will not pay them on time. You will delay X, Y, Z, and the amount you are paying them is far less than the huge sums that you are devoting to go and hire. This is third-rate coaches from elsewhere in Europe that will not give you trophy, with the exception, for instance, of Clemens Westerhoff. I think probably Clemens Westerhoff was probably one of the longest coaches that we had. He came around 1989, took Nigeria to the Cup of Nations in 1994. We won the Cup of Nations in Tunisia in 1994. Also took us to the World Cup in 1994. And then Bonfrey Joe.
By Bonfrey Joe.
Yeah, Bonfrey Joe.
Who is already in the corridors lobbying to come back.
I think his time is gone. So these are the kind of, you must treat your own Nigerians, and more importantly, we expose our players who want to be coaches, expose them to training, expose them to the best institutions abroad. Part of what China did, part of what India did, was to send their students to the West for training. I'm not talking about soccer now. And when they started coming back, you can see the difference that they have made back home. But here, you will leave them to be rotting. A former player like Emmanuel Amunike. Emmanuel Amunike is busy struggling on his own. He has coached Tanzania. He has coached one or two other countries. Who is assisting him to say, look, get more exposure, because at some point you have a place to come back to at home. So it is not just sufficient to say you fire this one, then you go shopping again looking for another coach. By the time you come, the coach will come. The results after 5 years or so will be. This is one of probably the longest reign of poor outing by the Super Eagles.
Exactly. I'm there with you, when it comes to indigenous coaches, because it's rare, to have a foreign coach, that could lead a nation to a successful outing in terms of winning trophies. If you a national side, you don't just play football, you play patriotism, right?
Check all nations that have won the World Cup. Invariably, in most cases, they are coached by their
Indigenous
own
players,
indigenous
coaches.
Not
Exactly.
only that, the challenge is at our veritable professionals. They retire and go into silence, some into business. Many of them, rather than take up coaching courses and improve upon themselves. Like Olise did, so that they will become very useful coaches and can be our national coach. Look at Gerrard of Liverpool.
Steven Gerrard.
Yes, he left playing football now. He's now back to Premier League after he had coached a team in Scotland.
All right. We'll have to have a topic around that. Anybody that watches Simeone of former of Argentina, he coaches Atletico Madrid.
Yes.
They were beaten last night anyway by Real Madrid 2-0.
Which Real Madrid?
All right, it's good morning, Nigeria. We have to sign off this.
Exactly. So Bayo is leaving us. I understand.
Yeah.
But tomorrow,
you want to raise the Enugu Rangers?
no, there's no need to raise that, because Enugu Rangers is the only club in Nigeria that's never been relegated. Bayo, thank you.
It's me that will give you the yellow card this time around.
Bayo, thank you for being here today. We hope to see you again tomorrow. But just to remind Kingsley that the Rangers is the only club in Nigeria that never been relegated. All right. So, really? Yes. All right.
That's fine. But they were hammered 3-0 by Bendel Insurance in October 1978. FA Cup final. It's Good Morning Nigeria.